Foreclosure Nation with Tamron Hall. Next, only on MSNBC.
All right, talk about a great deal on a house. A man moved into a $330,000 luxury home in the Dallas suburb of Flower Mound, Texas, last month after paying just $16 for this home, as described on the real estate website Trulia.com. It is more than 3,200 square feet and has 2.5 baths. It even has a swimming pool in the back. So how was Kenneth Robinson able to get this house for $16? The house was abandoned for foreclosure. Then the mortgage company that owned it went out of business. So Mr. Robinson claimed it under a relatively obscure law known as adverse possession. So exactly what is adverse possession? How does it work? And can you use it to claim a house? Joining me now is real estate attorney Shari Olefson, who is the author of Foreclosure Nation. All right, so this is going to sound pretty good to a lot of people across this country, getting a $330,000 luxury home for $16. So explain to all of us that haven't heard about this law, what is adverse possession?
Well, you know what, Thomas, this story is not going to end well for this cowboy. Adverse possession is a rule from the 1800s. Most states have incorporated into their statutes, and then it's applied at the local level by the county. But, you know, it was really meant for farmers and for property boundary disputes and things like that, cattle, way back when. Basically, it requires several elements. It requires someone to adversely take ownership or take possession of a property, make sure that the owner has notice of it, then improve that property, pay the property expenses, and do that for a certain amount of time. For example, here in Florida, it's 7 years, but in other states, it's anywhere from 5 to 20 years.
Shari, would this fall under the same thing as squatters' rights for the person that's moved into this house?
It's similar, and applying this old statute to a new scenario like this is just not going to work. It's like putting a square peg in a round hole. And there are other people who suffer in addition to the tenants, because a lot of the time these guys are renting out the properties and collecting money. The tenants are trespassing, obviously, and if the tenants know that this isn't the actual property owner, they can also be prosecuted. But in addition to that, the owners are suffering, of course, because if there's damage done to the property, they're still the owners. If someone gets hurt there, they can be in trouble, and eventually the lenders will, I mean, look, this is the collateral for the loan, so eventually the lenders, even in a case like this where the lender's out of business, someone is taking over the assets for that lender. Eventually they will sell the home to pay off the loan.
When it comes down to it, though, is this a criminal action? Because how would someone get into this home if they didn't break in and then maybe have the locks switched out to then have this adverse possession, so to speak?
Well, there are legal ways to do this dating back from the good old days. In some counties, for example, you need to file a form and notice is published, and then you go in, you pay the taxes, and you improve the property. But that's just not possible in these scenarios. So what's happening, the way these are playing out, and it's happening with abundance in a lot of the hard-hit states where there are a lot of vacant homes like Florida and Nevada and Arizona, is that the sheriffs are coming in and the sheriffs are notifying the tenants that the person they think is the property owner is not the property owner. They're trying to track down the owners to get the owners to sign a trespass warning that they can then serve on the tenants. And in many cases, they're arresting these guys. There was a guy down here in Palm Beach County who was arrested, actually a former cop from New Jersey, and a year later he was back doing it again.
Sounds like if people know the loopholes that they can get around this pretty swiftly. Shari Olefson.
For the short term, yeah.
Yeah, and then it'll catch up with you, that's for sure. Shari Olefson. Shari, great to see you today.
Absolutely.
Thanks.